This is the last page, page 4 of the review. The first part here says, count how many significant figures are in the following measurements. Remember, we have the 3 rules that went over before. The first rule is that if it's from 1 to 9, it's significant. Second rule is zeros in between zeros, or zeros in between numbers are significant. And that's also true for zeros in between decimal points and a non-zero number. So that's also true where these zeros are measured and should be counted. The third rule is zeros to the right of the decimal point and the number are also counted. So this would be 4 significant figures there, 1, 2, 3, 4, but not that one, and not that one, and never that one. So zeros to the left are not significant. Zeros to the right are significant if there's a decimal point. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple examples here. We'll do a couple of them. So this one, of course, is 1, 2, 3, 4. The answer to that is 4 because of rule number 1. The answer to this one is 3 because that one is significant because it's in between. We take a look over here. Let's do this one here, the last one in the second column. And I notice that I have that one, zeros to the left of the non-zero numbers are never significant. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, so that would be 4. So let's continue on. Okay, this one is about rounding the following to 3 significant figures. That means for each one of these, I'm going to start counting the left-hand side, the leftmost non-zero number. So I start here and go 1, 2, 3, and I check to see if it's 5 or higher, which it is. And then I replace the 8 with a 0 after I bump the 7 up to an 8. So let's do the same thing for this one here. 1, 2, 3. I check to see if it's 5 or higher. That means I end up with that. Okay, do the same thing here. 1, 2, 3. I check to see if it's 5 or higher. Now this looks like that there's only one significant figure. So one way you can show 3 significant figures, you have 2 choices. You can either put a bar over the last significant figure like this, which means there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, or you can do this, where we change it into scientific notation. Either one of those options are fine, as long as you show the 3 significant figures. Okay, so you can finish those up then. Let's keep going. Lesson 6 is rounding significant figures in calculations. So here, let me grab my calculator. Whoa. So here, I have 23 plus 456 equals, now the answer to that, now here's how I do this though. I always write them out lined up so that the ones is lined up, the tens and the hundreds. So I get 479, and because this is adding, both of these stop at the ones place, which means you round off to the ones place. So that actually works out like that. Now this one here, 1.05 minus 0.003456 looks like this. So my answer before it's rounded looks like, now I got to write this out so you can see I'm subtracting. It's 0.003456 like that. I'm rounding to the hundredths place because that's where the least accurate number rounds to. I get this answer on my calculator. I'm rounding to the hundredths place like that, and I check here to see if it's 5 or higher, which it is. So that means that my answer is 1.05. So after rounding, it looks like nothing was even subtracted. But that's how you round though. Now it's a different story when we're multiplying and dividing. When we're multiplying and dividing, I count the number of significant figures just like I did in the last section. So I have 3 on top and 2 on the bottom. So 355 divided by 6.7 equals. Now I'm going to write out the whole thing so to show you how to round off. Well, not the whole thing, but a lot of it. Okay. So here I count, I'm going just 2 places. So 1, 2, I check here to see if it's 5 or higher. So that means I round the 2 up to a 3. So 53 is my answer. Remember PEMDAS, when we go through this, you're going to subtract first 3.45 minus 4.5, which means I'm going to round off after I get that answer. The answer here is a negative 1.05, but I'm rounding off to the tenths place because this, when I subtract the two, the tenths place is right there. I get negative 1.05 like this. So I round off to that place, check to see if it's 5 or higher. It is. I get a negative 1.1. I multiply by 2.3, and I get a negative 2.415, which then I change 1, 2, I round off 2 places to a negative 2.4. And that's how you do it when there's like a combination of operations. Okay, we're just about finished here. Last part here is scientific notation. This is just, I'm asking you to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, and because 40,000 is higher than 1, it's a plus 5. I do the same thing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. Oop, I moved 4 places there. Come on, Bensing, you can do better than that. So that would be 4 places, and because 40,000 is higher than 1, it's a positive. Bonnie, could you close the door for me, please? So for the second one, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places times 10 to the 5th, because 56 or 560,000, thank you very much, is higher than 1, so it's a positive exponent. Here I'm moving the decimal place 1, 2, 3. Oop, that's it, right? No, 4. I got to go 4 places. 4 places because the 1 must be higher than, it can't be a 0.1, it must be higher than that. I go 4 places, but because this number right here is less than 1, it's a negative. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 like that times 10 to the 3rd, but because this number here is less than 1, it's a negative. Okay, finish those off, convert to real numbers. Now this one is a positive, so I'm moving to the right. So that's 4 and a 0, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and fill in with zeros, just like that. You can show the significant figures by that. Remember, this is 4.0, which means 2 significant figures. So I put a line above the 0, the first 0 that's there, the second number, to show that there's 2 significant figures. 9.7, and this is going to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fill in with zeros like that. All of these work exactly the same way. We'll do one with a negative. Since we have a negative here, that means I'm moving to the left. So that means 8.0 like this. I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I put a decimal there. Is what it looks like then is that. And yes, that 0 should be there because if it's over here, that means it's significant. So I should include the 0 there. Okay, good luck. I hope you do well. And that's it for the review.